Patrick, you or me?
Go ahead, Nori.
Okay, all right. So I want to say really kind of two things. One is that one point to be made is where our students in TRS go, but also our students at St. Mary's. And I want to kind of back away. I know we're here as representatives of our individual departments to give you a sense and the flavor of that, but a St. Mary's education is much more than a departmental education. And I think that's something that's sometimes lost. I went to two large state schools for my undergraduate degrees. I got two business degrees, one at Sac State and the other one at UC Davis. Big classes, sort of siloed education where you learned economics over here and history over here and, you know, maybe a little bit of music theory over here. And St. Mary's is not that. We certainly respect our departments. We respect the kind of work that we do with one another. We have different approaches oftentimes, but we recognize that we've got really great folks all across the campus. And we sometimes see that because when we get into our classrooms with small class sizes, what we do is we find students bringing in their understanding from these other disciplinary areas to fertilize, to sort of enhance the conversation in our own classes. And so just a shout out to both my colleagues who are online with me today, both departments rather, they're online today. I work with students who have been taking classical languages. I have a student right now who's studying Latin, and it's a tremendous benefit, right? I've got quite a number of students who have worked with Pat Downey over in philosophy and come in with a great degree of understanding of the philosophical underpinnings that is oftentimes attendant to theology and religion. And so what I'm trying to say is that while I will tell you where our students go from theology and religious studies, I think the broader question of the kind of full education you get is more important to me than what happens in any one discipline. Now, with that said, our students tend to go into one of three areas. Obviously, there's a much wider range, but they might go into ministry, and we have quite a number of students who pursue that track, either working as a campus pastor or a chaplain at a parochial school, or as it turns out, one of our students graduated a number of years ago, is now the chaplain here at St. Mary's, the campus priest. And I had him in his senior year, wrote a brilliant paper for me, and I had no idea he was going to be going on to further ministry at that time. I thought he was going to be an academic, but he moved toward ministry. So we have folks who will go into ministry. Then we have folks who go into higher education who want to be professors, and sometimes they're pursuing theology, sometimes religious studies, sometimes philosophy, sometimes sociology, etc. But it's a great beginning for them. And some of our students who have gone on in theology and or religious studies have gone to Harvard and Chicago, to Columbia, University of Santa Barbara, UCLA for graduate studies. And so Emory, which is in Atlanta, we've got quite a number of students out there as well. And then the third thing is that we do have a strong emphasis and understanding of the social commitment that persons of faith usually have, and that is towards social justice. And so we have quite a number of students who end up working in fields allied to social justice concerns, working for people at the margins, the poor, those who have been disenfranchised, helping to try and change structures that keep people from thriving. And so that's kind of sort of the three areas that folks tend to go on for with a TRS degree. But again, I think more important is the larger context in which any of our degrees are going to be, and that's the four-year program at St. Mary's, which at St. Mary's is 4 years. Some schools, you can't get it all in 4 years. You got to take 5 or 5.5 because of those impacted classes. So.
Yeah, and as in terms of where